Hey guys, this is the FANA Fan Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Topless, and for all you Groundhoppers out there, this podcast is for you. Tonight, we're joined by Max and Emma, but you all know them as the authors of Emma's Ground Guide. Guys, how are we?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, good.
Never been called an author before.
Things change, don't they? Well, it's great to have you.
For everything.
Yeah.
How did you get into football, Ground? What's your background in football?
So, obviously, my dad comes from near Crewe, which is why I support Crewe. So I always used to go then. Whenever we go to see my granddad, who still lives there, we'd always go to the games, probably from when I was probably 5 or 6. So obviously always watched them. And yeah, as I've got older, followed them more, gone to more away games when obviously old enough to go. And yeah, it started from there, basically. You want to give about yours?
Yeah, mine is definitely not like Max. I haven't been doing it since I was a kid. I went to a few games with my dad and granddad to watch Scunthorpe a few times when I was younger. But it probably wasn't until I met Max that he dragged me to a few cold winter night games. And then I realised that if I wanted to keep Max, I'd have to keep the football as well. So, so yeah, I definitely got into football more recently. But it's definitely something I enjoy. I wouldn't put a down on it. It's a good day.
So what would you say your first experience of football would be? What did you think of it the first time you saw it?
Oh, God, I don't know. The only games I really remember going to see my brother play in our local team. But apart from that, we went to a few Scunthorpe games that I can remember. But it was more just to get, you know what mums are like, get the dad and the kids out of the house to get dinner ready.
Now you've heard more about the pub, don't you?
Yeah, definitely more about the pub now.
Going to the pub rather than the actual football.
How many times? I mean, honestly, this goes for all of you. For you too, Ben. How many times have you been to a match and before the game you've been in a pub and you've met fellow football fans and had an absolute great time with? How many times has that happened?
Yeah, all the time. Especially when you're groundhopping, you meet all different people all the time, and it, like I say, as soon as you start talking about football, like you've got something in common, haven't you? And you've got a conversation already.
You can be there all day in some cases, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Forget match, mate. I'm having a great time. Let's have another beer. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're watching Crewe, half the time you don't want to bother.
Well, that's the thing. Some of my best mates I've met through football, and it's just like you said, it's just that connection you have. It's an easy topic to speak about.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you support a team near the top, everyone knows something about the Premier League or whatever. Or if you mention Crewe, there's always someone who will know someone out of the academy or something. So,
well, yeah, I guess that's the case. So, in terms of being a Crewe fan, what would you say your highlight of being a Crewe fan is so far?
I mean, it's an awkward one because over the last few years, we've been to Wembley twice. And, well, as I'll mention later for one of the answers to your questions, I've been either on holiday or not allowed to go. So we've been to Wembley twice in 2 years, and I've not been either time. But winning the playoffs was obviously a big highlight, and we won the Johnson's Paint Trophy the next season. But as much as that is a high, the low is that I didn't get to go to Wembley either time. So, like I say, it's a positive and a negative at the same time. I think a thing with being a Crewe fan is we've got such a good academy. It's one of the things about being a Crewe fan is when you sell your players on, you see them going on into the future and having big careers. So we've had people like Dean Ashton, who played for England. We've got Ashley Westwood at the minute, who plays for Burnley. And at the minute, so Perry Ng, our right back, has just gone to Cardiff. And apparently he's been their best player since he signed for him. We've got our left back who's just gone to Blackburn, like literally a couple of weeks ago. So I think it's a strange thing because most people would be annoyed with losing the players, but being a Crewe fan, because you're so used to it, it's sort of, you get a bit of pride when you see a player playing for England or playing for, like we had Nick Powell go to Man United, and to see a player that's come from little old Crewe playing in the Premier League, you sort of think it's good you can point out to them, oh, we used to play for Crewe, you know, and people will laugh at you. But it's sort of a pride thing to say, well, my team that no one's heard of and no one supports really has managed to get all these players that have gone on to have a good career.
It was Nick Powell scored that goal at Wembley that time for
that
Crewe.
was his last game for us. So he scored that. We got promoted, and then he left, went to United. But he sort of messed up his career a bit. I think the problem was that season, so he signed, and then Ferguson left, and then that sort of ruined it for him. I think Fergie would have played him, but then Moyes came in and didn't give him a chance really, and it's not really gone to plan since then.
That's a shame. Where is he now?
He's at Stoke at the minute, which is one of our local rivals.
yeah, isn't it? Christ. Like, who is your most fierce rival? Is it Vale or is it Stoke?
It's definitely Vale at the minute. Obviously, we haven't played Stoke for a while, so because I think there's one, and like since I've been following it, it has been Vale. But you speak to older Crewe fans, and they say that the bigger ones are Chester and Wrexham were the big two. But obviously, as we've gone up a bit, they've gone down, and obviously Stoke have gone up as well. So it's just been us and Port Vale in the same league for the last probably 10 years. So that's definitely the big one at the minute.
Uh-huh. And what about you, Emily? The Scunthorpe. What's your favourite memory? Would you say so far?
I think, going back to what Max said about being in the home end when he's the Crewe fan, it was definitely taking him to that. But with my granddad as well, because my granddad's a big football fan. Although it was a bit awkward at one point because when we actually scored. I seemed to be the only one in the end that seemed to cheer about it. Everyone was a bit of an older generation. So I think they were too busy under their blankets and that. So I was the one going wild in the home end when we scored and everyone was just sat down around me.
You're wishing they'd all join in?
Yeah, I was hoping, but they never did. So
we should have gone behind the goal, really.
Nothing better than a crazy celebration.
Exactly.
I was doing it all by myself that day.
I can remember my crazy celebration. I told you this, Ben. Lincoln City. We'd hardly been out of our own half. They just scored. We thought, they've won now. They've won. And then, literally, first time been out of our own half or second half. Ball's crossed in. It's fell to Mellis and he's volleyed it. And it broke me watch. The celebration was that hard.
I think you have to tell me this.
I had to come up for air. I had to literally hold my brother and careful. Oh my God, we've drawn.
You mentioned that one of my favourites is when Sheffield United were down in League One and we scored probably a 93rd minute winner to win 3-2. So you can tell how far Sheffield United have gone up since then. You think you're having a bad season now. But yeah, I remember. So we arrived at the station. I think some people on the train were Sheffield United fans, and they recognised we were Crewe fans. So they're like, "Oh, why don't you come pub with us?" And we went to like 3 or 4 pubs with them. And then just as we left to the game, they were like, "Oh, come and meet us back at this pub afterwards. We'll have a drink with you." Obviously, we then went on to score a last-minute winner, and then they were nowhere to be seen.
Oh man. It's shame what it does to you sometimes, isn't it? I mean, it's the best when it happens to you and the worst when it goes against you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can remember the 90th minute winner the same season. And I believe it was against Peterborough. And Billy Sharp crossed it back and Hansen headed it back and Billy Sharp scored it. And the scenes in that away end were just incredible. 90th minute win 1-0. You can't beat it, especially when it's a year away as well. So, what do you think to non-league then, guys? How did you get into watching non-league football?
So, like we said, obviously being Crewe and Scunthorpe fans, but we live in Newark near Nottingham. So, obviously, it's probably about 2 hours to get to Crewe. So, when we moved in here, we were thinking, right, well, we want to watch football, but I'm not travelling 2.5 hours every week to go and watch them. So we thought, let's have a look at what teams are nearby. And obviously when we looked in, there's 2 Newark teams. And yeah, the more you look into it, the more teams there are. So that's what got us into it, really. We went along to watch Newark. And the first game, they played Grantham, who were 2 leagues above them, and it was 4-3. in pre-season. We thought, this is pretty good. Obviously, you go to non-league not really knowing what to expect, thinking, like most people do that haven't been, it's going to be rubbish standard. There's going to be nobody there. But yeah, we went, I think there was 300 odd people there, 4-3 game. You can't really ask for much more. And it's sort of like everyone says, you got the bug for it then. You think so whenever you're looking at the fixtures from then on, it was like, right, if Crewe are playing miles away, we'll look for a local team to watch. And then, yeah, it started from there.
So you followed Newark home and away for a period of time then?
A bit, yeah. But then again, as well as that, we looked at other teams. There's probably 4 or 5 within 20 minutes of us. So yeah, whichever one of them's playing at home or close, we'll have a watch of them. And then obviously the blog then came from that.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite close to Lincoln, isn't it, as well? Newark, is it?
Yeah, so it's halfway between Lincoln and Nottingham, so about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Lincolnshire League will be next on your list, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and then Emma likes Lincoln as well, Lincoln City, so we've seen them a few times.
Yeah, I mean, we hate them when we're in our league, Mansfield fans, but I couldn't say a bad word about that fan base in that top tier. Yeah, I thought they were fantastic, very well respected club, and I hope they get to the Championship. I think they'll be a joy to have.
I hope they don't. I want to go next year in the
away. Well, if you're not going, I'll be definitely going.
Yeah. So whose idea was it then for the blog?
So as you can tell, I'm obviously a bit more into football than Emma. So I think at that point she sort of understood going to watch Crewe, obviously, because we supported them. But she didn't really understand like why are we going to watch Ollerton Town on a Tuesday night in the rain when we don't even care about any of the teams. She didn't really get the groundhopping aspect. So it was during the first lockdown. I was thinking, how do I get some way to get Emma more into it? And as I said before, it's more Emma likes the day out rather than the actual match. So I thought, right, let's try and get that into sort of a thing. So we thought together of all the different things we could rate it on. So it's a bit like your Topless at the Turnstiles one with the different ratings. So I was reading a few different blogs, but a lot of them seem to be
about the game.
Yeah, about the game that had happened. And it would be like, well, number 10 scored for Ollerton and then number 6 scored for Newark. And I was thinking, well, this game happened 2 years ago. I don't really care who got the goals, but I do care what the ground was like. And I think other people would as well. So it's like if I wanted... So we've got the different ways to rate it, like the kit and the food. And are there any pubs near the ground? Was it easy to find? I thought that would be... Certainly, if I was looking for a ground, that would be what I'd want to know. It's like if I randomly thought that I want to go and watch Sheffield United this week, I could go on the Emma's Ground Guide and be like, right, the food there's crap, so I'll have a burger beforehand at a pub. But if the food's good, then I know I can eat at the ground. And like, it's near the train station, so we'll get the train to the game, or we'll have to drive. So I thought the stuff we did is stuff that people would be interested in and people would want to know.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of Sheffield United as well, I think in terms of location, train station, I think they'll get a high mark. So I'm sure we'll be happy with that, Ben.
Yeah, it'll be
Sheffield quite
well. So what's the highest rating you could get then for the blog?
So it's out of 10 for each, and there's 5, so it's out of 50.
Yeah, but then you get...
Oh, you can get a bonus point if they got dark fruits in the bar.
Like a bonus
that sounds like
point.
That sounds like Smiths. Smiths on the road with the Dr.
Yeah,
Pepper.
that's what we sort of based it on, really. Like we'd watch those videos, and it's sort of similar to that, but in blog format.
Pretty much the same as what I got, really.
Yeah,
my idea. Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever get the perfect score, 50 out of 50?
Maybe one day in the very distant future.
It's a difficult one because obviously they're all very different things. So somewhere could have the perfect pie, the perfect location, the perfect stadium, but they might have a rubbish kit, and then that would ruin it all. Like, it's hard. It's a very varied sort of different things that you can have.
Yeah.
So it would be very difficult.
What is a good kit to you, Emma?
Something that's not generic. I like the different ones. I sort of look at them and I think if I was going to design a football kit, is that what I would do? And if it's like brown, then it's a no.
Fair enough.
I like
brown,
blue. Blue's always, if you've got a blue kit, that'll do a good score for me.
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mansfield's got a bit of blue on it, you know.
That is true.
Tiny bit. They have some good away kits.
We've got
Mansfield,
pink
I think.
Yeah. Dark navy blue into it,
Yeah.
Not claret and blue, that's Scunthorpe.
Oh God.
They've had some alright kits.
They
recently.
have had some good ones.
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say Burnley, Villa, West Ham.
Is a no.
You know, apologies, maybe. Yeah.
Who's got the highest rank on the vlog so
So
far?
at the minute it's Rushden and Diamonds. So we went to watch Newark in the FA Cup. It was their first ever year in the FA Cup this year, and we went away there on a Tuesday night, and I think there were three leagues higher. So we went there expecting Newark to get battered and maybe we'd take a 2-0 loss or whatever. And we went and Newark went and won 5-0.
Wow.
So
That's great
yeah, it was a decent little ground. It was the first one we'd seen at step 3 because obviously we chose a bad time to start the blog really because we've had all these stoppages and we couldn't go any higher than non-league. So it's the highest up we've been in the leagues. And yeah, they had a nice new stand with seats and a good terrace that we stood in. And yeah, they had a really nice clubhouse and we had some drinks. They got the bonus point for dark fruits. And yeah, it was a good atmosphere. There's probably 100 fans came down from Newark. So a really good atmosphere. And yeah, we were expecting to lose 5-0, not win 5-0. So it was a brilliant day out really all together.
Wow. So they're not playing the NCL level? That equivalent?
So it's step 9, so same as the Premier League, but it's Midland Premier League. So they're in with a load of Birmingham teams.
Right.
So they're in a bit of a rubbish league, really. So they got They had back-to-back promotions before we moved here, and then the last year that wasn't finished was their first year, and they were like right near the top, probably 3rd, 4th. So I think they've got a bit of backing behind them, so they're going for quite a few promotions.
Yeah, is a lot of Birmingham teams? Walsall Wood, are they in that?
Yeah,
league?
Walsall Wood.
I know them. I know them quite well.
Yeah, who else is in it that you would know?
Yeah, because I used to watch Shirebrook Town quite. I think it's equivalent to that level, NCL sort of standard. Just their way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem is because Newark's right on the edge. So one league is Leicestershire, one league's Birmingham, and then there's the NCL, which is more north, and Newark's sort of in between all three. So they're in an awkward place where there's only like one local game. There's only one other team. I think there's Long Eaton, which is like Derby way, and that's the closest team they've got, and that's like 45 minutes away. So there's no local games. So it's a bit of a rubbish league for them, really.
Yeah, well, if they're going there and winning, it's not a problem.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Is them? Because I noticed obviously AFC Rushden and Dams is quite high on my non-league hit list, mainly because they were a football league club. I noticed on that post. I remember this. Was that one where Flair?
Yeah, that was it.
Who did that? Then?
That was
Who was responsible for that?
It wasn't one of us. It was Newark fans probably when we scored 3rd or 4th goal.
So Newark have got a good atmosphere.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things. So obviously you have a lot of non-league grounds, and they've got the reputation of it's like your 75-year-old men, and they're all wearing their flat caps and whatever. But Newark's seems to be the opposite of that. It's a lot of younger people, like 25 to 30-year-olds, all going. There's a drum, flares and stuff. It's a good atmosphere. Wow. Newark's a pretty big town, so it's I don't know what the population is, but to say it's never had a decent football team, it's a very big place. So I think it's got the potential definitely to build a decent fan base.
Well, and like you say, there drums, flares. It's one thing that I'll give 10 out of 10 for an atmosphere.
Exactly, you can't go wrong with that, can you?
Yeah.
So in terms of your vlogs, I can remember seeing, I can't remember if it's pies or burgers eaten. And you rank that. Have you ever thought about putting like beers drunk or something like that?
Problem is, if we drink too many, we won't be able to remember.
And,
numbers.
do we want to admit to the amount that we drink as well by putting it there in writing?
yeah.
Especially if it's back in normal times when we can have a few on the train on the way there as well.
Yeah, it happens when I go to games with Jack and Ben. I know what you're both thinking. You're thinking, is that all you've drank and you're looking like this, mate? Honestly, what's wrong with it? You know?
Yeah, Max was hammered, but he actually only had 3 dark fruits.
Yeah.
I'm designated driver, so I don't have any.
You just drink Red Bull, from what I've heard.
Oh. Not anymore. I can't stand a thing anymore now.
Oh, good Lord. So, in terms of the teams that you visited, I've noticed there's only one team that mine and your blogs have done that we've both done. That's Maltby, Maine.
Yeah.
I gave Maltby a 19 out of 40. I thought it was okay. What do you guys think of Maltby, Maine?
It was decent. So that was the round before Russian and Diamonds. So that was the FA Cup that got them into that game. So that was another one where obviously we didn't really know what to expect because they're in a different league, but they're at the same level. I think, did Newark win 4? I think they won 4-0. So again, they absolutely hammered Maltby. Again, it was a weird one because the ground isn't that much. Like, there's obviously the 2 stands, which are pretty nice. Like, obviously, I like the way they were painted. Like, obviously, a lot of non-league clubs, you just get a little metal shelter with a few seats bolted in. It's not really very permanent, but like I did like how the stands were made of brick. Someone obviously built them properly. Again, it was a good, decent atmosphere because it's only about half an hour up the A1 from Newark, so there was probably 150 Newark fans had come. So again, good atmosphere. Everyone was having a drink, and I think there was some flares at that game. I know.
What colour? What colour are they playing? The orange.
We're playing orange, but they seem to. I don't think they really think of that when they buy them. There've been some grey ones, and I don't think they've actually set off an orange one yet.
Fair play.
Quite ironic.
Yeah, you'll be saying, "Oh, you're Blackpool. Oh, you're Blackpool in this." Yeah, the orange ones, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, in terms of groundhopping, how many grounds have you visited so far?
So not too many because I've compared to some people that you get. So I think I've just passed the 50 mark. Obviously, I've been following Crewe up until probably the start of last year when we got into the groundhopping. So I've been to quite a few away games with that, and then this year we'd got into the groundhopping. So I think I just passed 50 before everything stopped, but I'd say probably 20 of those have been the past year and a half. So we're definitely getting them racked up quickly.
Are you planning to blog about Football League grounds as well in the future?
Yeah, that was the hope when we started. It was going to be maybe 50-50. So we do a Crewe away game one week, and then the next week we'd go to a non-league game. But then obviously it's ended up just being non-league so far. But yeah, we're hoping just to get to whatever we can and maybe even bring it abroad if we go on holiday or whatever, see if there's any teams about. And wherever we can go, we'll try and find a game and get whatever we can.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Are you going abroad with it as well?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I'm sure we definitely will at some point.
Yeah.
Sat on the sun lounger.
Is there any grounds overseas you'd like to visit?
What, abroad? I mean, I always feel really bad. Emma always laughs when I say this because we sound really posh, but my dad's got an apartment in Portugal. And it's about a 15-minute drive from Portimonense that are in the Portuguese Premier League. So that's one that we'll definitely end up going to because obviously it's an easy one. We can go and stay at my dad's place, and then hopefully they'll be playing Porto or someone when we go, and we can get a good atmosphere there. And it'll be interesting to see how different like a match day is there. Obviously in England you get the train, you go to the pub, you have a burger or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how different is it in Portugal? It'll be interesting to see what the match day is like there in comparison.
Definitely will be, yeah. Is there any other places?
I mean, there's plenty, isn't there? Wherever you go. we want to go to America for I think it's the 2026 World Cup they've got in America, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Mexico and
It's Mexico, Canada, and North America. I think USA,
Yeah.
the MetLife Stadium, apparently is going to be the World
Yeah,
Cup
the
final.
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah,
Imagine
so-
that, though.
Yeah.
World Cup final there, Manhattan, half an hour away. Honestly, it'd be amazing. That.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get to that.
I've drove past that
But-
before. It's not far from Secaucus station, and you get the train from Secaucus into Manhattan. It takes 10 minutes, so it's not far away.
It's not. It's on the way to Newark Airport as well. I remember on the way driving back
it is.
there. My brother's a New York Giants. He likes his American football. And he had a picture in front of it. Bless him. So yeah. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. I was out in America when they had the Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid game there, and I'm gutted I didn't realise it was there. Otherwise, I would have gone to it. I think it ends up 7-2 as well after to Atletico Madrid.
Jesus.
So, in terms of grounds, then, what would you say is the best ground you've visited so far?
I think my favourite's St James's Park, Newcastle. So I think it's for my 18th birthday. So my stepmom's from Newcastle, so her brother got me tickets for my 18th birthday, and we went and they played Chelsea. I think Newcastle won, maybe 2-1. So yeah, it's brilliant. Obviously, it would have scored really well on our blog because right in the city centre, in it, a brilliant ground, probably one of the best grounds to look at. And obviously, if they're beating Chelsea, the atmosphere was rocking. It was brilliant.
No, I've been on the tour at St James. It's a fantastic ground. I mean, I'd say right now it'd be 10 out of 10 on the ground from me. It's one of the best grounds in the world, I'd say.
Yeah, especially compared to a lot of the new ones you get built nowadays that are just like your Leicesters and your Derbys and your Middlesbrough. They're all the same. They're all same all the way around. There's no character to them, nothing. Whereas at least St James's Park, it's all different size stands, and it's got something to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got an end, if you like, the Gallagher end, or that's one for example. But I mean, I've met fans Sheffield United, and they some of them have said to me, who I coach with, that the worst ground I've ever been to was the West Ham ground.
Yeah,
the Olympic Stadium. Yeah,
we went to Grantham, and that's a similar one.
Yeah,
they play with they've got a athletics track round it, and I don't know if you've ever been to a game with an athletics track round, but you were sat in the stand and
far away.
You felt like you were watching on telly. You didn't feel like you were involved with the game, and especially with a non-league ground, that's half the fun. Is you stood 1 meter away from the players, you can give them a bit of stick, they'll give you something back, and it's all part of the fun. Whereas there, you were sat so far back, and especially with us being neutrals, we weren't that bothered about the game anyway. And you just sat there. There's no atmosphere.
Yeah.
You can't even hear the players. Like, they score a goal, you can only just about tell because it's that far away. You need binoculars. It was everyone said how bad it was, and I never sort of believed it. But when we went, I wouldn't go back.
No.
I can't. I swear I've been to one running track. I can't remember it. I don't know if I want to remember it if it's that bad, but yeah, I don't.
What? I went to the London Stadium, and I also went to Don Valley Stadium when Rotherham played there. And again, it's the same. There's no atmosphere to it because you're just miles away from ground. It's shocking, especially what with West Ham, what they had before to what they moved into. Yes, it's bigger and might bring more fans and stuff, but the atmosphere-wise, it was incredible at Upton Park.
Yeah, well, that's modern football, isn't it? They don't care about the fans, what they would want, as long as they can get an extra 10,000 tickets.
Well, the very fact that they've moved outside of the West Ham area in London shows that it's not home. I mean, they're doing well this season, obviously, but I think they'd have been there a couple of years ago if they stayed at Upton Park. Yeah. I think probably Billy should still be there.
Yeah,
because they were incredible that year.
So, what about the worst ground you've been to? Then would you say that's Grantham?
Grantham's up there.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
Another one we don't like is we went to Salford on Boxing Day a couple of years ago, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's just been built up in 5 minutes. It was a metal terrace, which isn't very nice, and there was no all of the the toilets and the food bits out the back were just in porta cabins. Nothing was permanent. It had all obviously been chucked up in 5 minutes just to get ready for the league. And it was a horrible day. It was miserable. It rained. I think we lost 2-0 as well. It just not a very fun day at all out.
Right, interesting. I mean, is it the Peninsula Stadium, is it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, fair play. They've obviously upgraded it a lot from what it was, but yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing nearby, and yeah, I don't like a metal terrace that you were stood behind someone and you couldn't see over them. Yeah, it's just been built up quick with no thought really gone into it.
Well, I think the thought is that they can expand on it.
Yeah,
I think if they do progress. Yeah. I mean, I was going to go there last March, but unfortunately it was just when COVID hit, so I had to miss that one.
Yeah.
So I still won't know for now, but it's interesting really because the same Man United fans are going there to watch Salford because the atmosphere at Old Trafford's bad, they say.
Yeah,
I've seen on the documentaries, so tremendous shame for them.
But that's Old Trafford in general. It's never got no life to it. To said it, all the fans will say.
That's happening with all the Premier League clubs mainly, though, isn't it? Like Liverpool is obviously famous for its atmosphere, but I think even that's dying. The amount of tourists that you get there, and you obviously get the "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the start, but when 50% of your fans are tourists coming up for one game a year, you're not going to get the same atmosphere as you would at a Championship or League One, where you've got everyone's there supporting their team for the reason of that it being their club and they go every week, sort of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like with Spurs, the amount of like Koreans what are now support them because of Heung-min Son. And when I went to the Spurs ground, they was getting executive boxes and a lot. But that's football now because it's not just English footballers. We've got from overseas players that then attracts other fans and that's when it all gets
that's
messy.
one of the other things about supporting that I enjoy about supporting a lower league team and watching non-league as well. It's the people are there because they support the club and that's their life and their club, and they're not just there because they were on a work do or they've come over from China for the weekend and they don't know any of the songs, and it just kills all the atmosphere and everything about it. And yeah, that's modern football, but we could go on about that all day.
Yeah,
it's just like all these foreign fans that they get, like you say with the Koreans. I mean, Liverpool got a few from Japan when we signed Minamino. It's just extra revenue, isn't it? It's not what you think. It's not bringing extra fans, it's just bringing extra revenue just because their player plays for them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and fair enough, but it's obviously great for teams like Liverpool to be able to do that and have that reach. But yeah, if you then get in 5,000 people here on a trip over to watch one player and not really care about the team, it just kills the atmosphere, doesn't it? And it's not the same. But that's the thing at that level. If they can get that many fans buying shirts, it's just about the money, isn't it?
Yep. Bring back safe standing, I say. Our atmosphere back.
So, in terms of atmosphere, what would you say the best you've experienced?
I'm trying to think. Where was that one that we went to? And then it was the game that you winded me at.
Oh,
that one was wild. That one, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was Crewe against Macclesfield, which is a proper local game for Crewe. Obviously, RIP to Macclesfield. But yeah, so we went to watch them, and I think there was 2,000 Crewe fans there. So obviously sold out the away end, and you talk about safe standing. It's not so safe standing there. So it's a massive, everyone's shoved in this open bit behind the goal.
Yeah.
And 93rd minute, we scored to go 3-2 up. And this is one of the first games I've been to with Emma. And I jumped up and I think I either punched or elbowed her in the ribs. Fully winded her. So I was going wild. I turned around and goes, why are you not celebrating? And she's there like, almost like out of breath, like nearly crying because I just winded her.
It happens.
But you can't.
It's not nice when you're on the receiving end, but it's crazy. Last minute winners.
I don't even think I realised what happened. Like everyone around me just started going crazy. Then I got Max's elbow in my rib, and I don't even think it registered what happened.
I think the elation takes it away from it sometimes as well.
That's the thing.
You know, when you're that happy, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you've read me Mansfield Town one, it was the last minute winner, and the lad I called the Super Stag, he celebrated that I punched my brother in the face.
That's happened with us before. We went to it was Notts County away. There was it was £2 a ticket, so it was a sellout. So it was like 20,000 there, and yeah, we obviously scored, flares going off and stuff. About a minute later, when it's all calmed down, we turn around and mate's got blood pouring down his face. And what's happened to you, mate? He's going, I don't know, some random bloke's punched me in the face. And it's like, well, that's like I say, it wasn't intentional. Obviously, everyone's jumping around, people are getting pushed down the stairs, people are tripping over the seats. like you say, the emotions just take over, don't they? When you get a goal like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can remember I was celebrating at Bramall Lane, and now this lad is sat next to me for years because of the season ticket holder. And usually when we celebrate, we're just diving all over each other. And there was one game we celebrated a goal, and I dived on him. And next thing you know, I found that he just had like an operation. So and they're diving over someone what's having an operation, and as much as I felt bad, I couldn't control it because I'm celebrating the way I usually celebrate with him.
You don't think about it, do you?
Yeah, it's just a natural feeling to just go absolute mental. Like I was saying, I can remember when we first ever scored at Wembley against Hull in the playoff semi-final. I got put in a headlock, and usually when someone puts you in a headlock, you're like, "What you're on about?" And you go to like a fight mode, but when you're celebrating a goal, you don't care. You're just going absolutely mental because of what's happening.
Yeah, you do some strange things, don't you? And if you did that any other
You
time,
definitely do.
You'd be like, "What is he doing?" But yeah, you don't care because you scored.
Yeah, and that's the best part of it. You get away with stuff where you can't. So we'll flip that. And what would you say the worst experience you had?
This is a difficult one because I don't think we've had any. The one that I could think of is when we went to Port Vale away, obviously being the local rivalry, and after the game, they got you all to sit on this coach, and the coach would take you back to the train station. But then we had to sit on this coach for about 45 minutes while they got all of the Port Vale fans. There was this opposite the away end, there's this massive park, and all the fans were stood in this park with bricks and rocks and stuff. So the police are there, like getting rid of them all, so they're not throwing all these rocks at this bus. So that was an interesting one. Everyone's like, "Why are we not going?" And then it comes on, filters in that there's like 100 Port Vale fans stood in that park waiting to ambush the coach, and you think, what is going on? Yeah, obviously it's a rivalry and everything, but come on, like that's where you get the bad reputation of football fans from, isn't it? It's not needed. The game's over. I think we'd won, which was what had pissed them off. But yeah, we were sat on this bus for 45 minutes while they cleared all the fans out.
It's a terrible shame because I don't understand the knock-on effect as well.
That 100 people out of the probably 10,000 attendance is what gives everyone a bad name. And that's what ruins it for the rest of us.
Like you say, it's probably what you remember it for as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you remember the game really well?
Not really. Like I say, I think we won, but I can't really remember. But yeah, like you say, there's a good, like, you can score, you can celebrate, you can have some banter with them and whatever, but like, just don't take it too far. Like, there's no point.
We had the same experience for Port Vale when we was in League One. You get flares chucked in your part, so United fans chuck the flares back, and between the away end and the Port Vale fans is that little sort of like gate, and the Port Vale fans were trying to smash the gate down, trying to get to the United fans because of that, but that was self-inflicted from them throwing it in the first place. So United fans throwing it back. And then outside, again, Port Vale fans throwing rocks and stuff to the United fans as they're walking past. And as much as it was a great experience for the game, it gets spoiled by a couple of fans what want to take it.
Yeah, although it does end up making
extra.
it all the better when you beat them.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. So in terms of non-league, then, if you were to sum up non-league to someone what's wanting to get into it, what would you say?
It's definitely not what you think. If you've never been to a non-league game, it's better than you think. It's different to, obviously, like we've just said about football league atmospheres. Everyone's really partisan, and like you can get your fights and your arguments and whatever. But at non-league, everyone's just there to have a good time. Everyone's there, like you just have a chat with them, whoever you support, whichever team they're there to see, whether they're a groundhopper or a fan. You never get anything bad happen, really. It's all in good spirit. Like I say, everyone's just there to watch a bit of football, and it's cheap. You can have a good day out. Emma doesn't even like football that much, and she enjoys it. So, yeah, if you haven't tried it, try it, and you'll never go back. Like I say, we'd never really watched it. We came to Newark, thought, we'll watch a few games on a Tuesday night because there's nothing else to do, and before you know it, you're hooked and you want to go every week. And even Emma's asking me before the lockdown, right, where are we going on Saturday? What are we doing? And yeah, I never thought I'd see that.
Neither did I.
If you had any tips to anyone what was trying to get their partner into groundhopping,
I don't know really.
Tell them to wrap up warm for a start.
Yeah,
it's not a summer sport.
Yeah, it does get cold.
It's cricket.
Yeah, it's not a summer sport, so be prepared to be very cold.
Well, if they like alcohol, like Emma definitely does, you can definitely bribe them with a few pubs. That's a lot of it. Is you turn it into a pub crawl, and that's one of the things with the groundhopping. You can plan it, and we'll go to this town. We've never been to this town before. Sometimes you've never even heard. You didn't even know that town existed, and yeah, you can find new pubs, new places, and make a day out of it. Rather than make it all about the football, you've got the pub, you've got the food beforehand. You can go out for a meal or whatever, and yeah, like I say, it's never really about the football anyway, is it? It's all about the beforehand meeting your mates, having a laugh, and the football at the end of the day is just a small part of it, really. It's all the day out, really, isn't it?
No, definitely. And I'll say on behalf of my blog as well, the overall experience is the day out for me. That's what I rate it out of 10. And there's always a pattern when I'm with Jack or Ben or anybody else. It's always higher than when I'm on my own, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. You have a good... And that's probably the main thing that we're missing during these lockdowns. It's the days out, being able to go to these random places. And that's what you miss rather than the football. And watching the football on the telly at the minute with no crowd, it just shows you it's not half as good.
No, nowhere near.
Even with the crowd sound, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah,
because you can physically
especially
see
if you're watching as a neutral. Half the fun is you see a goal and you watch the away fans going mental behind the goal, and then now an away team scores and right back to the halfway line.
Not just that, but the banter as well. Like when a team's at the side net and if they score, they go, and then all the fans go, "Way!" Way! It shows that bit as well.
Exactly. It's that's half the fun. Especially
it's a terrible shame that we ain't got it.
Football. The banter between the fans is half the fun, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Has there been any game what you've really hyped up and you thought it's going to be a cracking game, and you've been there and it's been a disappointment, whether that be the result or the atmosphere? Or
that's always a disappointment. So there is one. So we went to Rainworth or Reneth, whatever it's called, near Mansfield, and we got there about 1:45. We were thinking, right, we'll go there, we'll have a few drinks in the bar beforehand, and whatever. And we got there 1:45, so an hour and a quarter before kickoff, and the bar was shut. It wasn't open. So we'd arrived at this ground. It was in the middle of in between the lockdown, so no pubs were open, and we were just there. We're like, well, what do we do now? So we just had to sit in the stand for an hour waiting. We were like the first people in the ground, thinking, right, we can sit in the bar, have a couple of pints, but no, the bar was shut, and yeah, we just had to sit in the ground and do a couple of laps of the ground for an hour and a half. So that was a disappointment.
I know this feeling. I remember when I did my Stocksbridge game. That was the day Sheffield was put into Tier 3. And it's like, sorry, we're not serving alcohol today, mate. Just warm drinks. I'm just there like, is there any way I can get a drink and just watch early kickoff? And it's like, I don't know, mate. It's like, for crying out loud, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know. But I'm sure it'll be over soon.
Yeah.
If you ever go to Campy, and that's a good one, because when me and Jake went, they have like a little bar area so you can watch the early kickoff, and then they have another area where you can actually sit and watch the game in there. So if you're wanting to stay in the bar and watch the
good
game,
view, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just for a window. So it is, yeah. So, well, one final question for you. If you could sum up Groundhopping, or if you could sum up football in
So
3
difficult
words,
on this one.
what
We've
would
gone
it
for
be?
the 3 words of random, cold, and surprising.
Random, cold, and surprising.
So, well, Groundhopping is very random. You wake up on a Saturday morning, you get the Groundhopping app and think, right, where are we going today? You don't pick it for any particular reason. You go into random places you've never heard of, random teams you've never heard of, random leagues you've never heard of. So that's all the fun of it. It's pretty cold. Emma gets very cold at the games. And surprising how good some of the places are. Like I say, these random towns, these random teams you didn't even know existed. You turn up and they've got a great bar, a great ground. And yeah, it's definitely, like we said, for people that have never seen non-league before, just do it and you'll be surprised. It's a lot better than what you'd think.
I totally agree.
It certainly is. Right, guys.
Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure having
you. No probs.
I'm sure we'll all get to a ground and do a joint blog at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there. Hopefully not too long in the future, but who knows at the minute.
Yeah.
Hopefully set a date on Monday.
Yes.
I'll tell you one good ground, and this is I've met a few guys in Radford for Radford FC. If you've seen that blog, who are Carlton fans. I don't know if you've done that ground before. I know Jack hasn't. The Mary Miller. I spoke to him last night. He's not done it. Have you done it, Ben? No, I mean Carlton Town.
I don't think I've done Radford.
No. Carlton would definitely one we could meet you at, because it's only 20 minutes from us.
Yeah, it's not too far.
Yeah, I've been, but we haven't done it for the blog, so we've definitely got to do it.
Yeah, and then them 3 fans said they've got a flag, and that's where they normally stood. So yeah, that'd be good to see them again at some point as well. So yeah, that'd be a good one. But me personally, I like to all to get on a train somewhere far away. No tier restrictions, you know. Somewhere like Marine would be a good one, especially after what's happened. There'd be memorabilia there from FA Cup match, if you know what I mean. But I'm sure I'll happen at some point. But no, guys, thank you for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.